Have you heard about Roman numerals before? What about Hindu Arabic numbers? Maybe yes, you have heard about it before. Or maybe you are thinking whether you've heard about Roman numerals before or Hindu Arabic. Well, in either case, in this video lesson, I'll be teaching you about Roman numerals and Hindu Arabic numbers. You may be wondering, Roman numerals, what is it all about? Why do we even need it? Well, we are still dealing with numbers and numeration. And that is why I am glad to welcome you to part 5 of Numbers and Numeration, where we look at Roman numerals and Hindu Arabic numbers. These are simply system of counting. You know about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that order. The Romans, okay? When you talk about the Romans, okay, think this country, Italy, now, okay? They make use of that form of counting, and we actually can count in Roman numerals as well too. For example, maybe while copying your notes, you may have seen where in trying to number things, you used I, maybe for 1, 0.1 I, 0.2 I, 3 I, 4 IV. Am I right? Or maybe when you are studying a particular textbook, you see such numbering. That is our Roman numeral. It is also a system of counting, a way of counting, and we use it for numbering in some cases. What do you need as a principle, as a guide to carry you into Roman numerals so that you play around it? First, and the most important, is for you to know these numerals. Hey, if you don't know what these numerals represent, then Roman numerals is going to be very difficult for you. But now you have the opportunity to either be reminded and learn this thing again in a very wonderful way. And so we are starting with this. The fundamental principles of Roman numerals. These numerals are very important. First, I, V, X, L, C, D, N. Anyone that wants to learn Roman numerals must first of all be able to identify what these numerals represent. So let us go. I represent 1. V represents 5. X represents 10. L represents 50. You can see them on the board. C is equal to 100, D is equal to 500, and N is equal to 1000. This is the starting point of Roman numerals. Do you want to enjoy this topic, to understand everything under Roman numerals? Then you don't joke with this foundation. I, V, X, L, C, D, and N. They are the starting point, and their values are what I wrote here on the board in Hindu Arabic, where you have I equal to 1, V equal to 5, X equal to 10, L equal to 50, C equal to 100, D equal to 500, and N equal to 1000. Our normal counting 1, 2, 3, 4 is Hindu Arabic format. And I want to believe you now know what these numerals represent. Let us do that thing we always do. Remember, I told you that GMAT 41 will give you lots and lots of secrets you need. You see, in any topic, there is this secret that I need to guide you so that everything in that topic will just be 1 plus 1. So I have 4 secrets here on the board. Things you don't need to joke with. What you need to be thinking about whenever you are dealing with Roman numerals. Secret number 1. Just imagine that I combine 2 numerals for you. Because in most cases, that's what happens. Even you can have more numerals combined. Now, this is what you should know. If a smaller Roman numeral comes before a bigger Roman numeral, that is, a smaller Roman numeral appears before a bigger one, what do? You are expected to subtract the smaller one from the bigger one. We have some examples here on the board. CD. C is 100. D is 500. Now you see that the smaller number there is C, which is 100, and it appears before D, which is 500. So you are expected to subtract in order to know the value of CD. So it's going to be 500 minus 100, and that gives us 400. Look at another example, XL. X is 10, L is 50. X, which is 10, appears before the bigger numeral, which is L. So you're expected to do what? Subtract. You do the bigger one, which is L, 50, minus the smaller one, which is X, 10. And 50 minus 10, you get your 40 there. There are many more. What about IV? You know, I is 1, V is 5. I comes before V. So 1 comes before 5. And so you're expected to subtract to know the value of IV. Don't forget this secret number 1. Very important. We move on. Secret number 2. What if it happens that the smaller number comes after the bigger one? What are you expected to do? In such case, where a smaller Roman numeral appears after a bigger Roman numeral, you are expected to do what? Add. I have some examples here on the board to show you that. CX. C is 100. X is 10. So you see the smaller numeral X comes after the bigger one. It appears after the bigger one. And so looking at that, you're going to add. It's going to be 100, which is the value of C, plus 10, which is the value of X. And we get 110. Look at this other one, ML. N is 1000. L is 50. N, which is the bigger number, comes before the smaller number, which means that the smaller Roman numeral comes after the bigger one. And we say you need to add. Is that not so? So to get the value ML is simply 1000 plus 50. And what are we going to get? 1050. There are many more you can think about. What about XI? X is 10. I is 1. I comes after X. I is the smaller numeral. It comes after X. So to get the value of Xi, you add the value of the numeral X to the value of the numeral I. And X is 10. So it's going to be 10 plus I, and I is 1. Giving us 10 plus 1, which is 11. Does that make sense? I hope you understand this secret. If you have a question, don't waste time. Send your question across for response. You'll get your answer to that, okay? If you are confused in anything that I explained here. But you can still replay the video and listen to what I said. Secret number 3. Can you combine more than 3 the same Roman numeral just at once? That's the meaning of consecutively here. Consecutively. So this secret is telling you you can't do that. It is not allowed, at least that I know. So you cannot combine more than 3 the same Roman numerals consecutively at once. We have this example here. You can write I. This is 3. It is accepted. That's why I ticked it. I marked it. But what about I? 4 of the numerals, the same, combined together. It is not allowed. So you see, I crossed it, not allowed. C is allowed. This is 300. You see, I ticked it. What about C? 4 C's together. It is not allowed. So you see that I crossed it. So you can only combine up to 3 the same Roman numerals together. If it is more than 3, you are the one that know what you are doing. Secret number 4. We now come back to our place value and standard value. Let's see how we go about this. Next, I would like you to see a chart showing some Roman numerals and their Hindu-Arabic value. Now, here we go with this Roman numerals charts. Have them on the board here, right? So be very quick in reading through the charts. Here we have Roman numerals. This is the Hindu Arabic number for it. The same thing here, Roman numerals, the Hindu Arabic numbers for them. In some places you saw where I used blue marker to do some minus plus. I already explained that. If a smaller number comes before a bigger number, you subtract the smaller one from the bigger one. And if a smaller number comes after the bigger one, you add them together. Alright, let's look at some that I've brought out on the board here. We have I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3, IV is equal to 4. Now look at this IV. You notice there is combination of two different numerals, I and V. I is smaller than V. I is 1, V is 5, and the smaller number comes before the bigger numeral. Okay, so you do subtraction. 5 minus 1, you get your 4. The next we have V, which is 5. After V, which is 5, you talk about 6. 6 will now be that V plus 1. Is that not so? V plus 1, which means you should have the smaller number coming after the bigger one. You can say that VI giving us 5 plus 1. That is equal to 6. You go again, VII equal to 7. VIII equal to 8. Now 9 is IX. And IX will be 10 minus 1 because it's a combination of two different numerals where I is smaller than X. And the I, which is smaller, comes before the bigger one. So you do your subtraction, 10 minus 1, that gives you 9. Then the next one is X, and X is 10. After that, you have Xi, you add, in that case, 10 plus 1, you get 11. Then XX is 20. This XX is combination of the same numeral. So you add both of them together. X plus X will be 10 plus 10, which is 20. To get 30, you combine 3 x's, alright? So it's going to be X, 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 giving us what? 30. You move on again, XL, of course you have to do subtraction there. Two different numerals. A smaller numeral coming before the bigger one. So it's going to be this bigger one, 50, minus the smaller one, 10. And that gives us 40 there. Continuing, you have L. L is 50. We've made that before. Okay, the fundamental principle of Roman numerals. LX, you do your addition because smaller number comes after this bigger one. Alright, smaller numeral here came after the bigger one. Which is L. So you do 50 plus 10, 60. XC, X is a smaller numeral. It appeared before the bigger one, C. So you're going to do C minus X. Of course, 100 minus 10. That gives us 90. C is 100. CX, you add up 100 plus 10, you get 110. D is 500. M is 1000. Now, as much as you can, memorize some of these. Are you getting? You can sing them as a song so as not to forget. But very important, the one that I would not say as much as you can. There's nothing like as much as you can there. This one is, you must memorize them. You want to know them? I'm going to show you. From this I to X, memorize them. Very important. Are you following? So let's go. I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3, IV equal to 4, V equal to 5, VI equal to 6, VII equal to 7, VIII equal to 8, IX equal to 9, X equal to 10. These first 10 Roman numerals are very important as well to you. You just have to memorize them, cram them together with the fundamental principles, alright? Those ones I told you earlier, that is I, V, X, L, then we have C, we have D, and N. Those ones also you have to memorize them. Okay, I've shown you from 1 to 10, you just have to memorize them. No choice. Alright, another one you must memorize, C. Okay, L, very important. I told you that before. C, very important, D and N. So those ones, memorize them very well. The other ones are obtained by combining one or two of them. And even when we are going to deal with bigger numbers, like I can tell you, all right, get me 2,759 in Roman numerals. Now, if I want to get that, I need a combination of, many of these numerals. So once you know these standard ones I have shown you and I've told you to memorize their Hindu Arabic values, then you won't have any problem again. Is that okay? We are now going to move on. Set for our very first question. In the following problems, we are going to write the given Roman numerals in Hindu Arabic form. We have 3 questions here on the board. The first one, express L, X, X, I in Hindu Arabic. Let's take them one at a time. We go for the first question, right? L, X, X, I, we are to express it in Hindu Arabic form. So how do we go about it? It's simple. Just come over here. We have L, X, X, then I. We're going to start by picking each of them and writing the equivalent Hindu Arabic value. Is that okay? So I'll start with this L. We have L here, and the value of L is what? 50 in Hindu Arabic. We just looked at our charts previously, and so you should have memorized the value of each of those Roman figures. Now, the next we have there is XX. I'm going to put them together. All right. XX is equal to 20. Of course, that's 10 plus 10. So let me just work it out. 10 plus 10, which is equal to 20. And then we have I. Triple I in Roman numeral is equal to 3. Therefore, LXXII is equal to, all we need to do is add up these numbers we have here, these Hindu Arabic values. So this is going to give us 50 plus 20 plus 3. And if you add this, what are you going to get? 73. This is our answer. So it simply means that LXXII is equal to what? 73. This is the Hindu Arabic value for this Roman figure or Roman numeral. This takes us to the second problem, solution. We are required to get the Arabic numeral value of this Roman numeral. What is the value of MCXDII in Hindu Arabic numeral? Okay, so we have MCXDII. I love this question. Okay, we're going to see how to handle it. So we go. Looking at this, we have M. M is equal to 1,000. Okay, and after that we have C. The number reduced. C as a Roman numeral is less than N. Okay, so I'm going to have C is equal to 100. Like I said, this Roman figure arrangement from M 1000 reduced to C 100. And of course, if a smaller numeral comes after a bigger numeral, you are expected to add, which means this MC will add them together to get 1,100. But hey, watch out something. After this C, what did you notice? Now, the numeral still came down, no argument, we have X. But did you notice that after X comes D? So, from this smaller numeral, the numeral still increased. Are you getting me right? In a situation like this, where if you look at the arrangement, it started from a bigger numeral. Are you getting me right? From a bigger numeral M, reduced to a smaller one C, reduced to X. We are supposed to add NCX together. But because after that X, which is a smaller numeral, we'll notice that the next one that followed is a bigger one, which is d. In that case, what we'll do is to take x and d together. We pick x and d together. Good. And we'll work it out. That's how we handle a problem like this. Suppose this numeral is a smaller value, maybe smaller than x, would have just added continuously. But since after this smaller numeral x, you now meet d, which is bigger than x, then you need to take two of them together and then work out what it is going to be. So we have xd, and of course this is a smaller numeral x. It appeared before the bigger one d. Remember the secret. When a smaller numeral appears before a bigger one, subtract the smaller one from the bigger one. X is 10, d is 500. So this is 500 minus 10, which of course will give us 490. Now this takes us to the last two, which is ii. Of course, ii is 2. So that's how we handle this. Please, you can replay this video, this part I was explaining what happened here and why we had to pick xd together and work and solve them out. Is that okay? Once again, simply because you notice the arrangement. M is a bigger numeral. It reduced to c. Now reducing to x, but after x you notice there's an increment. The numeral increased, so you pick this x and d together. That is how we work it out. Please take note. Therefore, mcxdii will now be equal to, you add up 1000 plus 100 plus 490 plus 2. So you will see that mcxdii will now be equal to, let me put it therefore here. If you add up this 1000 plus 100 will give us 1100. If you add 490, you get 1590. Add 2, you get 1592. And of course, this is the answer to this problem. This is the Hindu-Arabic value of this Roman numeral, Roman figures. Now we're moving on to solution. Solution to problem number 3. Now in question number 3, we have to change DCCCIX to to Arabic numeral. Is that okay? That is Hindu-Arabic. Now how do we work that out? We have DCCCIX. So it follows the same pattern. Is that okay? Now you notice the first Roman figure, there is D, and D is equal to 500. After that, we have CCC, a combination of the same numeral. So we're going to pick the three of them together, and that's going to give us 300. You know, C is equal to 100, so let me work it out. 100 plus 100 plus 100. So you pick the three of them and work them out. This is going to give us 300. Then comes IX. Now you notice after CCC, I, the numeral reduced. We were supposed to add this I to 300, maybe to get 301. But hey, again, notice, after this I, which is a smaller numeral, what happens next? The one that follows is bigger. Therefore, you pick the two together and work it out. Is that okay? So you're going to have IX, and of course, I is 1, X is 10. The smaller numeral I comes before the bigger one, X. So you're going to subtract 10 minus 1. This is going to give us 9. We can now work out this Roman numeral by adding up the values we got. 500 plus 300 plus 9. Therefore, the Roman numeral DCCIX is equal to, if you add 500 to 300, you will get 800. Add it to 9, you get 809. And this is our answer. This is the Hindu-Arabic form of DCCCIX. So you see how we handle this, right? It's very simple. But once again, like I said, the reason I handled this IX together and the reason I worked this XD together, very important. So, I advise you to replay those parts and then pick the point. But once again, as a reminder, it's simple. Once you have a smaller numeral after which the next numeral increases, what you have to do is to pick the smaller numeral and the next bigger one together and work them. Which of course you know is going to be the bigger one minus the smaller one. Because once a smaller numeral appears before a bigger one, you subtract. We shall now see how we can change from Hindu-Arabic to Roman numerals.